Here we are once again for Yoga Intermissions. Welcome. My name is Karen, coming to you from -8 degrees Vermont, Salt and Sand Studios. It's great to practice with you today. We're going to focus on the foundations of building our posture today, rooting to rise. And also, we'll take the time to honor Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed from his current human form this early this morning. He was the embodiment of compassion, a spiritual leader, a teacher, an activist, and a general, kind, sharing human being. He will be missed, but many of the things he taught so many of us involve mindfulness and compassion. So today we'll work on a little mindful breathing exercise that I was introduced to through one of his teachings. So welcome. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. And in fact, in reflection of our Root to Rise theme, we'll go ahead and imagine that the sitting bones and tailbone are kind of like a tripod anchoring into the ground. Maybe you think of them as roots to a tree. The belly draws in and up, the pelvis a little forward. We allow a bit of softness and openness in the chest. Chin is a little tucked. Eyes can be downcast, sort of 6 feet or 8 feet in front of you, or closed, whatever feels okay for your body. And we take the very tip of the tongue and place it just behind the back of the front teeth. Back of the front. Maybe bring a little smile to your face. The lips can be lightly parted. And we notice the breath, first of all, without changing it. We add a mantra to the breath. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I release. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I release. You can slow the breath down if that feels right. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I release. Take that for a few more rounds. Continue with that mantra and the breath and deepen a little bit more, taking a little bit longer duration of inhale and exhale. And possibly notice any part of the body that could use a little bit of that calm and a little bit of that release. And guide the breath there. Maybe that's the thighs or the hips. Maybe it's the heart or belly. Maybe it's your head. Breathing out, I release. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I release. One more cycle. Take now a nice deep breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Another long, generous breath, inhale. And release. And one more time, maybe shrugging the shoulders up. Letting it all go in the breath out. Today, I dedicate my practice to Thich Nhat Hanh and the transition of his energy from his human form into whatever is next. You may consider that or find your own dedication for someone in need. And with those beings in mind, we press the palms together at the heart as if they found their home there. The heart lifts toward the thumb knuckles. Thumb knuckles reach toward the heart. The neck might get a little bit longer, the belly a little bit longer. We'll breathe all the air out of the Then after our inhale, chant Om or imagine Om is writing out on the breath out your mouth. Breathe out. Inhale. I neglected to mention, if you have a couple of blocks or squared up, rectangled up food containers to use, or maybe even a couple of pillows, like couch pillows, you might grab them. Not required, but if you have them. And if you are interested in listening to the Spotify soundscape, feel free to start that now. I'm removing my socks, but it's a little cool today, so I'm keeping my sweatshirt on. We are going to start in a kneeling position, sitting on our heels. And if that's tough for your knees, you can always fold over your mat to place your knees on top of the fold part. It's nice and soft. Or you can place something behind your knees or under your knees. We're going to stay here for a moment. Take the heels of the hands. We're going to take some cat-cows. The heels of the hands reach toward the knees as we round the back, scoop the belly in, drop the head. Really pressing the tailbone forward, in the middle of the back behind you. Inhale, heels come toward the hip creases. We take a little cow shape. Exhale, flat. Breathe in cow. And after the next cat, we'll move into a neutral spine. Hands right in the middle of the thighs. And take a moment to feel how you are connected to the earth. The shins, the tops of the ankles, the tops of the feet, maybe the tips of the toes are a little bit there. And from that, with the belly drawing in and up, we're going to rise to our knees, rooting to rise. Hands to our back. Flush down the hips a little bit forward. Now lift the whole torso, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift the heart like it's shining to the stars, maybe even creating star shine. And then we come back down, tucking the tail a little bit, rooting back. This time as we rise up, we're going to use our arms to lift as well. So inhale, come to kneeling, arms forward. Exhale, remain here. Feel yourself rooted to the ground. Lock the arms back into the shoulders. Inhale, lift up from the arms. So we're using our shins and the tops of our feet instead of the bottoms of our feet to root to rise here. Pressing the tailbone forward. We lift under the arms. Rotate the shoulders so the pinkies face one another. Now we're going to take a twist. Left arm forward, right arm behind. Still stable and sturdy. So if you're feeling a little unstable, maybe you check that the feet are as wide as the knees, or maybe you widen the knees a little bit, but keep pressing the tailbone forward. Breathe in. Exhale, maybe twist a little bit more, opening up the arms like you are a giant wingspan. Inhale, come forward, lift the arms high. Take a hold of the left wrist with the right fingertips. A little tug here. Exhale, tilt over to the right. Very purposely working from the lower legs to feel the rooting into the ground. This isn't necessarily the most stable shape. Lift up. A triangle or pyramid would be, and bring the left hand to the right wrist, a little tug, and tilt over to the left. So when we work through our standing postures today, we'll feel the difference between a warrior one, a crescent warrior, a warrior two, and a triangle. Lift the heart. Inhale, rise up. We're rooting to rise. Exhale, a twist over to the left. Left hand behind, right arm in front. Stabilizing by drawing the belly in and the hips a little forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, we're going to come into a child's pose. Finding a little lower back stretch. Knees can be as wide or even wider than your mat. Sitting bones work toward the heels. Hands walk forward, head rests on something, and that could be a block or a blanket or your hands if the head resists coming down to the earth. Now, we're rooting in with the palms, the forearms, the shins, the tops of the feet, the tops of the toes, and the forehead. Create a little flexibility, drawing the sitting bones down toward the heels and the belly slightly in and up. Come back into, well, we weren't in a tabletop, so come into a tabletop. You need to shift your knees closer together. Bring your feet a little apart. And power up, belly in, space between the shoulder blades. Right leg reaches long behind, ball the foot on the earth. Really press the heel away from you. And don't forget to engage the belly rather than just letting it drop downward. We're going to rock forward and backward. Shoulders will come over the wrists, and we use the belly and the thigh and the glutes to lift the right leg off the earth. We're going to swing the right leg above the left calf, take a peek over the left shoulder, keep the foot off the ground. Use the belly a lot, glutes a lot, swing the right leg over to the right, keep it away from the ground. Now we have 3 points of contact with the ground, the lower left leg and the hands. Draw the right leg behind, sweep it above the left calf again. And we're going to reach that leg farther behind us and to the left. Drop the shoelace side of the foot onto the earth and glide the front of the right hip toward the left heel. You can draw to your forearms and drop your head. Opening up the left glutes, maybe a little bit of IT band here. And if you'd like more of a challenge, back toes tucked under, knee lifts off from the earth, and we reach that right heel farther away from us. Returning to our three-legged tabletop, keep the strong exhale, knee to your nose, press the ground away. Inhale the leg and drop the knee to the mat. Maybe a little wiggle out, wiggle on out, maybe some hip circles, maybe some other motion in the ocean. Return to a neutral tabletop, fingers nice and wide, left leg extends, ball the foot on the earth. Stretch out the heel, the sole of the foot, the toes, the calf. A little movement forward and backward, still rooted into the ground with the hands and the front shin, the right shin and top of the foot. Left leg floats away. Left leg comes over the right calf, a peek over your right shoulder toward that left foot. Inhale, come bring the leg behind you. Exhale, sweep the leg around to the left. Keep the leg off the mat and the floor. Leg sweeps over to the right once again. And this time we extend that leg to the right and back, gliding along the shoelace side of the foot as we bring the left front hip to the right heel. I've run a little bit out of space here. Forearms to the mat. And driving away to that extra challenge. If it suits the body this time around, the back toes tuck under, the left toes. The left knee floats away from the earth. We reach back with that left heel. Finding a little more opening, a little more challenge. Returning to the hands and the right knee and shin, left leg lifts, knee to nose. Inhale, extend, and the knee returns to the mat. Wiggle it out. Cats and cows, hip circles, the letter C, left and right, whatever works for you. We'll meet in a downward dog after we move the hands forward just a couple of inches. Tuck the toes under and use the belly a lot to float the hips toward the sky. Pedal it out if that feels right for you. Sorry, I'm tucking into my hoodie here. Take time to kind of feel out your down dog. You might peel forward into a high plank, measure that out. They are the same length, high plank and down dog. Maybe take a little extra space between your feet and then lift the hips back nice and high. We're going to wake our way through a few sun salutation A's before we move into the foundation exercises. Rise up to the tiptoes. Walk all the way to your hands for a forward fold at the front of the mat. This could have a bind like a rag doll. Finding the right balance. I'm not saying we're not doing root to rise and we're not doing foundational work here, but this is your standard kind of approach to sun A, head hangs low. Release the hands to the earth, bellies on the thighs. Find a little sway left and right. Maybe the fingertips graze the mat and you can sense that texture. And we take a little half lift, hands to the shins. Nice long spine here. Draw the belly in and up and the shoulders toward the hips. Exhale, fold. Imagine you are a tree rooted to the earth from the feet, lifting the nourishment of the earth all the way upward as you unravel to standing. We halt in mountain pose for a moment. Feeling stability. Inhale, sweep your arms wide, then high overhead. Root to rise. Exhale, hands to your heart. A little closing of the eyes or gazing downward and a return to your dedication. Feel the power of your roots into the earth. Drop your hands by your sides, mountain. Tadasana. Inhale, arms lift high. This time a forward fold coming through, hands at the heart and the knees, and draw into your fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise up, press into the earth. Arms will lift high. We'll pause in Samastihi. Once again, hands to the heart. Breath in. Breath out, hands by the sides, Tadasana. Inhale, float the arms out and up. Exhale, fold, hinge at your hips. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Step back, high plank. Pause in high plank. Feeling the power. We now have 4 contact points. Actually, more if you want to count each finger pad and each toe pad. We're going to go right to downward dog. Lift the hips. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Breathe out. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I release. Inhale, forward, high plank. Exhale, down dog. Take a walk back to your hands, forward fold. We're now going to add some warrior work in here for our root to rise. Mindfulness, inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up to standing, arms reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Or hair in my mouth. So bring your hands to your hips. Now, oftentimes, a Crescent Warrior has a wider front to back stance than a Warrior 1. A Warrior 2, for many of us, has a wider stance than a triangle. So we're going to take all of those, finding our balance and our foundation from the front of the mat. And we'll take it on both sides. So we'll do sequence on one side and then the sequence on the other. We're going to go ahead and inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Find a halfway lift. Forward fold. We're going to work our way into a runner's lunge with the left foot as far to the back of the mat as we get it. Runner's lunge is the foundation, if you will, for Crescent Warrior. So we know we're going to need to balance. We know we want power. We know we don't want too short of a stance or too long of a stance. But we do not know, based on where your body is right now, we haven't done any Crescent Warriors, where the body might go. From my recent practices, even though I know the body is different today than it was yesterday, I know I need a little bit more space left to right. So I'm moving my right foot out to the right. Find in the purchase, big toe mound of the left foot into the earth, entire sort of outline and the toe pads pressing into the earth. But I have to use the back leg as well. We don't want that kind of floating. We want energy in it, so the heel is coming down. And then a little hover over the right knee. And I feel what that feels like, and then a lift up to Warrior Two, rooting to rise up. Finding that power in the feet, the ankles, the thighs, the belly. Hands reach down around your front foot. We're going to take a little twist here. Left hand down, right arm high. Really press that left knee away from the earth. Right hand comes down to the earth. For Warrior One, the back foot spins down. Maybe, based on your hip flexibility, the stance is a little shorter, but probably still as wide as your crescent. And again, we hover over the right knee, the right thigh, and then lift up Warrior One. Now, once you're there, not looking for the judges to give you a 9 or a 10 right away. You might need to move the right foot out if it feels wobbly to be in this posture. Breathe in, lift, lift, lift. Exhale, hands frame your front foot. Scoot the hands inside the right foot. Step the left foot back farther and bring the left foot parallel to the back of the mat. Preparing for our Warrior Two. Now for some, the most traditional alignment is the right heel aligned with the inner arch of the left foot. That does not work for me, but I do know I need to move my left foot to the left a little bit. So here we're going to take a little stretch, extended side angle, sweeping the left hand up the inside of the right arm, across the chest, and open it up toward the sky. Hip opener. And then we lift into a Warrior Two. And again, you might find that this feels wobbly to you, or maybe not. Maybe it works exactly the way the body needs to right now. Maybe you need a longer stance or a slightly shorter stance, but you really want the body as if it is between two panes of glass. So you want to activate your glutes. You want to activate the thigh, inner thigh and outer thigh on the right leg so that the knee moves away. Find your stable purchase with your feet in this triangle. Beautiful shape. And then the arms lengthen out. Gaze over the right hand. We're going to go ahead and flip the front palm to take a reverse. Because I know at least one of you loves the Dancing Warrior Two, we're going to take that side angle. I just noticed my right knee bent a little bit more, which means I wasn't fully in my Warrior Two. Warrior Two. Dance it, reverse. Side angle. Warrior Two. Reverse. And last one, side angle. You might find a variation here, maybe a bind or a half bind feels good. Maybe holding a beach ball outward to the side. We're going to lift back up, Warrior Two, bring the hands to the hips and lengthen your front leg. Spin on your heel so you're facing the long edge of the mat. We're just taking a little interstitial here and fold over your legs. Wide-legged forward fold. Beautiful place to start to feel like a tree, gathering the nourishment from the earth with your feet, your roots, and allowing that to rise up the inside, the inseams, and lift the hips away from the earth. Belly is drawing in enough to give yourself real estate to fold. Nod your head, shake your head. Maybe take a little journey left and right. We return to center, hands to the hips, and the lift up. So your feet now should be wider than your shoulders. So you can take a moment to align the shoulders and the hips. And bring your left foot, if it is not already, parallel to the back of the mat. Pivot on your right heel so your right toes face forward. And what I can feel right now is this is a good stance for Warrior 2. But it's actually a little bit long or wide for me for triangle. So I heel toe my left foot inward a little bit and point the left toes just a teeny bit toward the front left corner of the mat. Now I feel like I can draw the belly in, put my shoulders over my hips, bring my arms nice and wide, reach my right arm forward, and then drop it for a triangle. Love triangle pose. One of my favorite shapes to be in. It might not be yours. Imagine, though, that in this root to rise scenario, our awareness is not just on the feet, but on the drawing up of the nourishment of the inner inseams, because there's another kind of inseam, in toward the pelvis and the hips. It's almost as if the thighs are sort of magnetically attracted to one another. Come back to your Warrior 2. Reverse your Warrior 2. Frame your front foot. We're going to step into a high plank. Pause here. Drop your left knee, side plank, left hand down. Right foot spins, right arm high. If you prefer to be off your knee, feel free to take that. But another place where you feel all the spaces that are touching the ground, rooting into the ground, to rise with the hips and the heart and the right fingertips. Exhale, right hand to the earth. Return to your high plank. Right knee drops, side plank, other side. Exhale, downward dog. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my blocks for downward dog just to play around a little bit. This is why I suggested maybe you have blocks or cushions available, but it's not requisite. We're going to work into down dog. Peel forward to high plank. Lift back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg lifts. Down dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale up to the tippy toes. Press the chest toward the thighs. Tippy toe all the way to the front of the mat. Forward fold. For yogi toe lock, feet are a little bit wider. Fingers wrap inside the big toes. The thumb rest on the tips of the toes. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Gather in the belly. Elbows bend outward. Drop your head. Hands release, half lift. Breathe out, fold. Root to rise, coming to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Energy draws into the heels. It's as if you have a block between your knees, so another reason to have something handy, perhaps, to place between your knees, so the knees don't necessarily come together, they actually stay apart but squeeze the thighs in to gain a little power, a little strength, and to cause the belly to lift up, the tailbone to point downward and forward. Rise up to the balls of the feet. See if you can sink into your chair. If you like, you can bring your arms to cactus shape, to eagle shape. If you take eagle, you want to take both wraps, heels to the earth. Inhale, rise up to standing. Breathe out, forward fold. Take your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time the right foot glides to the back of the mat. Get it as far behind you as you can. Rather than sinking into the front hip crease, you're pressing the floor away with the big toe mound and the rest of the left foot. Reach the right heel behind you. Then situate yourself. I know I need a little more space left to right, so I'm moving my foot over to the left. We'll take a twist before we find our hover. Right hand down, left arm high, or the heel of the hand to your low back. Don't forget about your back leg. It loves to drop down. Get soft, getting soft in the knee and soft in the quad. We want to use that leg to power ourselves up. Exhale, left hand to the earth, and now we're going to hover. Hands by your sides. You're like a beautiful statue on the bow of a ship. Root to rise, lift up. Steady and sturdy without gripping the mat with your toes. The hands come inside the left foot. We spin the back heel to the mat. And hover back over the left thigh. Do that a little differently than the other side. Warrior one. I have shortened my stance. Now I need to widen it because my left hip is cranky. And rather than kind of just hanging out from the waist up, imagine that first, you feel the nourishment from the earth, the energy kind of lifting up through the inner arches and inseams. The left is moving back in space. And there's lots of energy in the outer heel of the right foot. I'm not saying the rest of the foot is off the earth, but you're finding extra energy there. And then we use that rooting to lift up through the side bodies, the front body, the back body. The armpits scoop out. The heart shines its energy, maybe creating its own stars above. Exhale, hands now inside the left foot. Bring your right foot parallel to the back of the mat and maybe a little farther away from you. Extended side angle, right arm high. Your wrap or no wrap. And rise up, warrior two. Check it out. How does it feel? Are you firmly established in the earth? Are the roots gathering up the energy from the earth to lift, pressing the pelvis forward, creating a stack of the shoulders and the hips? The bottom is not in a different zip code as the chest. And we reverse the warrior. Work into our warrior dance, coming into side angle. Sturdy in the roots, rise up, warrior two, reverse, side angle. Rise up, warrior two, lifting with that right arm, reverse. And the last one, side angle. Finding your half bind or full bind or any variation you did on the other side. Don't forget that back leg. My knee loves to soften, which means I'm not using that leg enough. Foundations. Warrior 2. Hands to your hips, extend your front leg. I'm going to face you so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing, but I'm going to work my triangle pose from this side. So your left foot is in front, toes, middle toes pointing to the front of the mat. I just happen to be facing the opposite way of you. So finding the back foot parallel to the back of the mat from Warrior 2, you might shorten your stance a little bit and pivot on your right heel to bring the toes more to the upper right corner toward the upper right corner of the mat. Then we bring our arms out in a T and we check. Are we tilting backward? Are we tilting forward? Left arm reaches, hand drops, and the right arm floats high. Triangle, Utkatasana. Do you have that feeling like the legs are drawing together as if you are scissoring together? Or maybe it's like you're dragging the mat with the feet and the thighs in toward the center of gravity. Return to Warrior 2. Hands to the hips, extend your front leg. This time we're going to heel toe the feet in closer toward one another. And find our 5-pointed star. They're not going to come super close. They're still as wide or wider than your shoulders. Hands by your sides and root to rise without locking your knees. Feel the energy lifting up from the feet, up the inner arches of the feet and the inseams to the hips. Lifting from the hips all the way around the body to the shoulders. Armpits open up. The shoulders are not squinched up around your ears, but we are wide and beautiful 5-pointed star. Drawing your arms into a cactus shape, we'll pivot on the balls of the feet and bring the heels in, bending the knees outward. Goddess, temple, might be called something else as well. Lift up the right heel. Really lift it away from the earth and now sink deeper. Bring the heel back to the earth, stay low. Lift up the left heel. Foundation, sink deeper. Energy rooting to rise, heel down to the earth. Both heels lift up. Sink deeper. Bottom down, belly in. Rooting to rise, heels down, lift up, tall. 5-pointed star, hands to the hips and step forward. Inhale, sweep your arms nice and wide and high. And breathe out, find a fold over your legs. Your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step back, high plank. Pause here. Lower all the way down to the mat. Now you'll notice that we didn't do a standing leg balance. It's very purposeful to do our mindfulness and our awareness to the two-legged stances, if you will. That helps build the strength and the muscle memory for our single-legged stance. However, as she looks up at the camera from her mat, we are going to do a fallen tree. So here our rooting is much more from the front of the body and there's not a lot of balance involved, but it does give us some hip opening and a sense for the root to rise. So you're going to bring your cheek to one side, doesn't matter which side. You can bring your arms into a cactus shape. Cheek to the other side. And then if you're not looking toward your left thumb, go ahead and move your head so you're looking, or your nose is pointing toward your left thumb. For fallen tree, you're going to gather your left knee out and up so that the sole of the left foot is somewhere inside the right thigh or the right calf. There's a reason that we don't put it on the knee, so that when we practice from the standing position, we're not putting extra stress on the knee. And now see if you can breathe in and breathe out such that the left hip bone, the front part of the hip, actually comes more toward the earth. And if you'd like a little stretchy challenge, you can tuck your right toes under and then activate the right leg so the knee floats from the mat. The glutes are actually working here for you. Right knee drops, we unbend the left knee, come back to our front body, forehead to the earth. Bring your fingertips to the earth outside your mat but parallel to your shoulders so your elbows stick up like Batman or Bat person ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the navel from the mat and draw your bony hips to the earth. Then on an inhale, heart forward and up. Find a little back bend, shoulders away from the ears. Breathe in here, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down to the mat. Turn your head so the nose points to the right. And bring back your cactus-shaped arms. Fallen tree on this side. You might find that this hip is more open and you can get the leg higher. Doesn't really matter. That doesn't mean it's better. It just means it's different. And see if you can press the bony hips forward and down. Left toes can tuck, knee can float away, glutes activate. For me, that helps me get my hips a little closer to the earth. Left knee returns to the earth, right leg straightens, forehead back to the ground. Hands come outside the mat, parallel to the shoulders. Once again, elbows point to the sky. Navel lifts away from the mat, pelvis moves forward. We squeeze the shoulder blades together, breathe in, press into the fingertips, lift the heart with the belly as well. It's almost as if we're rooting to rise from the bony hips and from the fingertips. Come all the way down to the mat, meet in child's pose. If you like Balasana 1 with the knees together, feel free to take that. Or you can move into Balasana 2 with the knees nice and wide. Either way, big toes touch. The head in some shape is on the ground if you're in knees together version. You might take the top of the head, place that on the ground, and then sweep the hands behind you. Just like we started practice, we're going to come back to seated on the heels, grounding into the earth from the shins, the tops of the feet, tops of the ankles, and the tops of the toes. Sort of like the deck is facing the earth, the deck of the feet. I'm going to lift the arms high once again, rooting to rise. Use the belly a lot and rise up to your knees. Pelvis forward. Lift from the knees all the way to the fingertips without finding a deep back bend here. And exhale for a twist, left arm forward, right arm behind you. Inhale forward, keep the palms facing one another, then lock the arms into the shoulders. Take a nice breath in again. Exhale, twist open, left arm behind, right arm in front. Gaze moves toward your left thumb. Inhale forward, exhale, remain. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, sitting bones down, hands to your heart. About 7 minutes remaining, so we're going to come to our seat. Drawing the legs out in front. Moving into Janushavasana, which is a bit like a seated tree. We'll take the same concept here in terms of rooting to rise, because we're lifting from the sits bones all the way up through the crown of the head, as if the sits bones and the tailbone were anchored into the earth, gathering nourishment. Lift the arms in front, lock them back into your shoulders. Inhale. Torso toward your left knee. Exhale, reach forward rather than downward. So we're still lifting from the sits bones. Breathe in. Exhale, reach forward from the hips and out the fingertips. Hips to fingertips. Breathe in. Exhale, shift. And here, perhaps the hands drop. I'm going to use my blocks because that helps me keep my spine long. Lift back to your seat. Rooting to rise. We'll take that to the other side. Situate the blocks. You sit up nice and tall. Arms float in front. Lock back into the shoulders. Long belly, pelvis forward. Breathe in. And shift. Reaching as if you're moving past your toes with your fingertips and your heart. Breathe in. Exhale, reach. Breathe in, shift forward, and then the hands can drop. Long, straight spine is what we're looking for, as long as we are getting some sort of a stretch in the back, some sort of opening in the left hip, and some sort of stretch in the back of the right leg. Press yourself back to your seat. And one more seated posture, Pashimotanasana. Very similar to what we've just done. It is, in fact, a forward fold from a seated posture. I might shift around to even out the hips. I'm going to take a little bend in my knees because my hamstrings are a little tight. The pinky toe sides of the feet are reaching toward the armpits, and the arms come back in front. Lock them into your shoulders. Gather the shoulder blades together a little bit. Gather the belly in a little bit. Breathe in. Exhale, shift forward. Inhale. Exhale, shift. And one more time. You're welcome to drop your hands. If you can reach your feet, you can reach your feet. You're going to work to peel the pinky toe sides toward your underarms. Rise back up. Bring the soles of the feet to the earth. Bend your knees. Hands can come behind you. Feet as wide as your mat. Drop the knees together. This is our final torso twist. And knees drop. Actually, knees move. Like the windshield wipers of a car, left and right. Gently, kindly. We drop them all the way to the right. Seeing if we can come out of our shoulders a little bit. You don't have to come to the earth. We're just finding a twist and an opening inside the left thigh. And the hips and the knees draw over to the left. Knees come upright. Make your way all the way down to the mat. Take one final movement or posture, either happy baby or knees hugging in or legs up the wall, whatever feels good for you. I'm going to do a little circle work with my knees. 3 breaths wherever you go before you move into your final resting posture, which could involve legs up the actual wall, or Utkatasana, or maybe seated with your back against the wall. More traditional posture of legs extended on the earth. Sneak the shoulder blades toward the hips on each side and drop the arms outward, palms upward. Breathe in and release. No need to think, create lists, but maybe an opportunity to experience your connection with the earth. Any place that the body meets the floor, the mat, the rug, the ground, wherever you might be practicing, whatever that substrate. Feet are relaxed, forehead is relaxed, jaw, cheekbones, eye sockets relaxed. Bring to your mind now the being to whom you dedicated your practice. Maybe you can picture them in front of you. Or maybe it's someone different from original thought, original intention. Let the knees gather in so you can roll onto one side comfortably. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your mat today. For this kindness to yourself, this practice will spread far and wide as you interact with those you love, those you don't know, and then they interact with others. Press yourself to a comfortable seat. And we'll close practice as we begin it with the sound of Om. If you'd like to join in, palms pressed together at the heart. All the air, exhale from the lungs, release. You breathe in calm and merit to dedicate the practice outward with Om. Thumb knuckles connect right at the center of the forehead. May all beings live with compassion. Namaste. Thank you for joining me over the interwebs and on the mat. My name is Karen. If you have funds, you're encouraged to donate on our website, saltandsandstudios.com. If you go to the yoga page, you'll find a donation button. However, if you do not have the funds, this is our community class, and we are here regardless. Yoga Intermissions, Salt and Sand Studios. And if you're ever in Vermont, stop by, take a class indoors. We have yoga pods for safety and well-being, and limit to 3 people in class. My name is Karen. It's wonderful to be with you again, or for the first time, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.